I don't currently own a joiner's vise in the small loft workshop, which may mean I wouldn't get too much use out of it even if I did own one. However, for my current project it would be really useful as I have some panels I need to ease together. I was browsing the internet the other day considering buying a vise and came across these two devices. The latter one is called the Bull. So here is my version of the Bull. I had this piece of 1.5 by 4, so I thought I may as well make my bull the length of my two MFT tops. So I marked the length around 1200mm and then to round the ends off just trace round a jar I had in the workshop. Now I need to mark out a series of holes, and the hole could be any diameter at any centres, but just to try and get some more of the money back I spent on the Path guide jig, thought I may as well use that and mark out everything at the 96mm centres. On the face I have enough room to drill 2 sets of holes and also another line on the top. I also need 2 feet that I will use to fix it down to the bench, and here I'm using some 1x5. My Festool crosscut station is set up to cut 21mm timbers, so I didn't want to break it down just for one cut, so it was nice to give my small Evolution miter saw a run out. Now I need to recess the feet into this piece, so here I'm marking out the length of the feet 100mm in from each end. I set my fence so the outside of the saw blade is the same thickness as the feet, and then transfer the markings on the piece to the fence so I know where to start and stop. And here I'm just visualising the cut. So with the blade wound down, I start the saw and then wind the blade up into the piece just so it breaks the surface. Make the cut, which is just a few inches long. Then turn off the saw and wind the blade back down. Then turn the piece around and repeat on the other end. I'm guessing this manoeuvre should be labelled "Do not try this at home." Now it was turned to just cut the rounds on each end of the piece with the bandsaw. Now, as you can see here, this is pretty much the limitation of my small workshop. Swinging a 4-foot piece around the end of the bandsaw blade is almost impossible, so I have to keep moving the bandsaw and make a small cut. This is one reason why I really like my Festool crosscut station. Much easier in a small space to take the tool to the material rather than the material to the tool. The next stage is just to open up those pockets I made on the saw. I use my trusty Irwin tenon saw and then my Japanese pull saw to do this. Then I pared out the floor of the cut using my 18mm chisel that I had to sharpen because I blunted it, scraping the excess glue off the face of my dust extractor in a video a couple of weeks ago. But once I had the feet seated nicely, I could now turn my attention to drilling all the holes. As I mentioned earlier, I'm using my UK Path jig just to mark out the 3mm holes, and the 2 lines of holes are staggered by 48mm. And then transferring the holes from the face to the top, I can drill a further set of holes. Now I'm not going to use a 20mm drill bit that came with the UK Path jig set, primarily because it's £46 to replace it. So instead I'm going to drill the holes with a 20mm Forstner bit, which is about a quarter of the price. and the dogs that I have still fit this hole. Now I'm not looking for perfection here. After all, I'm just making a jig for clamping. So as I drill a myriad of holes in this piece, I use a couple of scraps of OSB just to protect my MFT bench top. Next, back to the sander, where I can just finesse the curves. And with my Makita palm router and a chamfer bit, I can just clean out the entrance to all those holes. And remove the Arris. Before giving the whole thing a sand up with 80 grit. And finally, screwing the feet on with glue and 3 screws per foot. And that's it, the project's complete. Apart from, wait, the clamps don't fit. Well, that's a bit of a problem. I never thought about 1.5" timber causing an issue. It's a good job I've got my new Banggood clamps and the ends come off. At least I can use these. But it's a lesson learnt, so if you're going to make one of these for yourself, either make it out of inch stock or make the holes a larger diameter. Anyway, I worked around the problem. The dogs fit the holes. The Banggood clamps fit the holes, and if I refine my plane technique, I can now use hand tools at the bench, something that I've not done for quite a while. Maybe I should buy some more hand tools.